Hey, I'm Randy, and you're watching The Cheap Audio Man. Here at The Cheap Audio Man, we help folks find high-value, hi-fi home theater and headphone equipment. Okay, this one might not be considered high-value. Today, we're talking about the Meze Lirics. It's a $2,000 headphone. So, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the Meze Lirics and maybe an alternative. Today's sponsor is the Weem Mini Streamer. For less than $100, you can get AirPlay 2, Bluetooth, Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, an application for all the streaming services, or at least the ones that you probably use. You can use these to create a whole home distributed audio. Did I say it's less than $100? Weem Mini Streamer, my value streamer of choice. Really almost my streamer of choice at this point. The Meze Lirics. It's a closed back headphone. Okay, it's $2,000. Now, before anybody gets into the comments and says, you're not the cheap audio man anymore, let's put some things in perspective. I have about 400 videos out there, and less than 10%, I would say probably less than 5%, are on products that are greater than $1,000. So, I will do videos and reviews about higher end products, but the majority of my reviews will always be higher value products, and sometimes with a high price tag there can be high value. So what do you get for $2,000 when it comes to a headphone? Well, number one, you get a case. It's a very pretty case. I love Meze's logo. Look at that. It's a pretty logo. And then you get a racing stripe, something like that, down the front. Looks like some type of protuberance on a fish, like along the spine or something. Inside, it's very nicey, all soft and I don't know what you'd call that. Felt, velour. I want an outfit made out of this. Zip up. The stripe down one side only. A vertical stripe. And then there's some stretchies for the cables. The cables that were sent to me are a 3.5 millimeter, and they terminate into a 3.5 millimeter into each ear cup. This has the rubberized coating on it, and it's good. It doesn't get tangled up at all. I would hope so at the price here. Very nice splitty thing right here with the Meze logo. Very good cable. This one is probably about 4 feet. Yeah, 4 feet. It also came with this cable, same material. I just think this one's a lot longer. You can get these with a balanced cable if you're so inclined. Yeah, that one's longer than 6 foot. So maybe 8 foot, I don't know. Long enough. Okay, cables are very good. Also comes with a little Meze pouch. Has the Meze logo right there. Now this is nothing special. It's just a regular kind of vinyl pouch. Inside you get a big 6.35 millimeter adapter, and then like one of those plain adapters that you hook up 2 headphones into one jack. So let's take a look at the Mezes themselves. Like I said, these are a closed back design. On the side here, this is, I'm imagining this is leather. At least it's leather or some type of fake leather material. In typical Meze fashion, these are built beautifully. The tolerances on these are just so close. To extend the ear cup, it's just a friction design. Now this, I think, is plastic. I think this is actually plastic too. However, this part right here is kind of like a copper colored metal. Very good attention to detail. I would think it no other way from Meze. This is probably the only part that I'm not super excited about. The headband is very nice. On the top here, it says Liric. There's good padding here and a little bit of a notch here at the end, and then a notch here in the middle going laterally across your noggin. Very good curve, so it engages a lot of my head. Never had any hot spots or anything. These are also fairly light. Ear pads to me appear to be a vegan leather, and you can see right inside the driver right there. I kind of pulled on these a little bit, tugged on them, but I felt like they don't come out. I let them stay put. For a $2,000 headphone, I don't want to break it. Well, this attaches via 3.5 millimeter, and the cool thing about this, I have the Meze 99 Classics, and they have a recessed area for the 3.5 millimeter cord to go into the ear cup. The takeaway on that is you can't just go out and buy another 3.5 millimeter terminated cable and have it work properly, because it won't fit in there, because most of those cables will be too thick. On this one, you can very easily change out the cable for an aftermarket cable from Hart Cables or any other cable company that has a 3.5 millimeter termination. So if you want a Pentagon, if you want an XLR, if you want a 2.5 millimeter, which makes sense because these kind of are designed to go with you 2 places, because they're closed back and they're light. Overall, I think the design is awesome. Some people may feel like for a $2,000 headphone, this should, I don't know, maybe look, I don't know, it's understated. I don't have a problem with it. There's a cool little thing here on the side too. So I like them. Are they worth $2,000? As far as build quality, I don't know. I don't know, it's up to you. I like them though. Powering them, so they are fairly sensitive at 100 dB and 30 ohms resistance. They're pretty easy to drive. So I tried the iBasso DC05. It's a dongle DAC, about $60. Also tried the Cayenne RU6. I just did a review on that. I'll probably link it somewhere if you'd like to watch that review. This is a $250 fully discrete R2R dongle DAC. I also used the Apple Lightning to 3.5 millimeter adapter. Everything drove the headphones fine. I did notice an improvement in sound quality and size when I used the RU6 from Cayenne. Also has a 4.4 Pentagon balance connection if you want to run these balanced. But there's other products out there like the Ear Studio M100 Mark II that has both a 3.5 millimeter and a 2.5 millimeter balanced connection. The takeaway here is these don't need a lot of power. There is a bit of a benefit if you go balanced, at least from what I heard on my devices, and most of that is in some separation, maybe a little bit of largeness, maybe a little bit better imaging. But I wouldn't feel compelled to run out and get a whole bunch of balanced stuff to run these. These sound great, whether it's on an $8 dongle DAC or a $250 R2R dongle DAC. They also obviously sound good on any type of headphone rig you have, whether it be a combined DAC amp or separate DAC amp. It scales, obviously, it's $2,000. It scales well with everything. Driver technology. Meze collaborated with Renaro. They also did that with the Elites. The Renaro driver actually, interestingly, historically came out of the former USSR in the Ukraine. After the fall of USSR, Renaro took that technology that was designed, well, for acoustics, and they improved upon it. This driver is a little bit different from other planar magnetic drivers. So there's actually 2 parts of the driver that are reproducing 2 different frequencies. So in essence, it's kind of like a multi-driver headphone or a two-way speaker. Sorry, almost spilled my coffee. So there's kind of a blue one at the top and then a yellow one at the bottom. And the yellow one at the bottom produces the mids and highs, and the big one on top actually produces the bass. Pretty cool. There's also a lot of other technology that I will link in the description. You can go check it out if you want to. Obviously, Meze has put a lot of thought into these headphones. So how do they sound? Well, they sound different from the Elites. What I kind of expected when I got these was it was going to be a closed back version of the Elites. And that's not really what I got. These are more linear. They don't have as much bass or warmth in the mids and on the bottom. I wouldn't call the mid-range cool per se, but it's definitely not as warm as the Elites, depending upon which pads you use. Because on the Elites, if you use, I think it's the velour hybrid softy pads, you can get a similar sound signature to what the Lirics are. For me though, the Lirics are all about space and placement. There is bass here, but it is not on display. Vocals sound very natural. Again, they sound very neutral, not warm, not romanticized, just clear, apparent, a bit forward compared to the Elites, but still in line with everything. I didn't feel like it was just super mid-range forward. Highs are really pretty much wonderful, perfect. Nina Simone's Centerman, the 16th notes at the beginning were very tactile, very clear, very natural. The decay of the cymbals on Africa, the Weezer cover, was brilliant. It just hung out forever. The big thing about these headphones is the space though. I really felt like I was listening more to an open back headphone. Frankly, I think these Soundstage and Image better than some open back headphones. Granted, those open back headphones are a lot less expensive, but I think the Lyrics do the best job really I've ever heard in a closed back headphone. Bass is going to be a little light for some, but it is there, and if you want to EQ it, you can. I didn't EQ them. I didn't really feel like I needed to. These have a lot more bass than, say, the Hi-Fi-Man Sundara, but not nearly as much bass as something like the LCD-X. It's good. It's neutral. It's detailed. It's very detailed, very nuanced, very layered. This is a mature headphone, layered. And these got better and better and better the longer I listened to them. So what are my gripes about them? Really, I think it's the build quality. I wish it wasn't made out of plastic. Again, it's the price. I think $2,000 is a lot to ask. I will say this though, compared to the Dan Clark Aeon RT, that's a closed back headphone as well. That comes in around $500, so we're talking about a quarter of the price. It's 4, so it'd be 1. A quarter of the price of these. It's a different sound signature though. I think the Lyrics, a little bit more detail going on. I do like the Dan Clarks. I love the Dan Clarks. They're very comfortable. I think the Lyrics have more detail going on. I think the Lyrics also do a better job of soundstage and imaging. They sound larger than the Dan Clarks. These are the best closed backs I've heard, and I would hope so at $2,000. They soundstage, image, give a better layered presentation. Everything sounds very organic and real, and not like a wall of sound. Not like just sound coming out of it. It's just more nuanced and complicated. For $2,000, people are putting together entire systems, including headphones, including headphone rigs. I'm not taking anything away from Meze, because I think if you do have the budget, you need closed back headphones. Even if you don't need closed back headphones, I think these are fantastic. And I'm not going to judge anyone that wants to spend $2,000 on a headphone. For most people that have more limited budgets though, I think there are some alternatives. I just talked about one of them, the Dan Clark Aeon RT closed. There's also a drop version of the Dan Clark Aeon. It's the closed X, I believe. I think that comes in at $500. I think it will go on sale even down to $450 or even less. For around $100, I know we're stretching it, the AKG K361 have a very similar characteristic with the sound. And the 361s actually soundstage and image really well. For a closed back headphone, there is a lot going on inside. So if you're after somewhat of a similar sound signature, there is nothing that's going to replace the Lyric, because they have a very balanced, I enjoy it sound signature. And then they add on top of that a bunch of space and layering. Really remarkable. The 2 steps down from that, the Dan Clark Aeon closed, either RT or the drop version, or the AKG K361s. If you want more bass, you can look at the K371s. I'll link everything in the description. Those are affiliate links, which means if you click on them and you buy, I will get a commission. If you want to check out my review of the AKGs, I'll put it right here. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have Patreon-only Zooms. We also have a Patreon-only Facebook group. You can also sign up for Amazon Music or Tidal. There are links in the description. You click, you sign up, I get a couple of bucks. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen and fill your soul with happiness. Trademarked. Cheap Audio Man.